Hello, everybody. It's me, Ross, and welcome to another edition of Meet the Opposition. And today I'm joined by Alex Jones, the man who covers all things Cambridge United for Prost International. And Alex, 20 years since Cambridge United were in League One. Now they take on Ipswich Town at the Abbey Stadium. I'm looking forward to this one. It's a short trip for Town fans and myself. How are you feeling going into this one? And how would you assess Cambridge's season so far? Of course, promoted into League One. And it's been a mixed bag of results, but probably better than you probably thought.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of pundits, a lot of fans would have tipped us to go straight back down. I think that the optimistic ones would have tipped us to maybe finish 21st, 22nd, and the majority that I've seen said 24th. We've thus far proven people wrong. The start was really good, even though we took a little bit of time to get that first win. We had a positive performance, and results. 1-1 draw against Oxford on the opening day. A couple of shakier ones away at Accrington, and stuff like that. But there was good signs that this team was coming together. It had the core stayed the same from the promotion winning side of last year, but there were a lot of changes still that had to be made. The formation, personnel. There was a lot that had to happen, and eventually it clicked in a slightly fortuitous win against Burton Albion, where we won 3-0, which was a great performance. It came through a deflected goal and 2 own goals. But that was the kind of starting point of our season. We went on and we beat Bolton. We got a bit derailed by Lincoln City in a 5-1 demolition that we've kind of just said it's an anomaly, it's fine, these things happen, and it's a welcome to League One from a side that was the highest ranked side that didn't go up. So we've had a good adjustment period. We had a brilliant win away at Fratton Park, our first win ever at Fratton Park, and the first time we've beaten them since the 70s against Portsmouth. And then it's somewhat kind of derailed. And a lot of people, when we've spoken about Cambridge, have said they win the games they don't expect you to, and they lose the ones that they're expected to win. And we'd come through almost in the top half, coming into the last few games, doing really well on the back of that Portsmouth win. And we had a run against Fleetwood, against Gillingham, against Crewe. And these are the 3 games that we had in the week. And you're looking at that and thinking, this is where Cambridge can now distance themselves from the bottom 4, and we failed to win any of them. 2-2 draw against Fleetwood, 2-0 loss against Gillingham, 2-2 draw at Crewe. The Fleetwood result, I think they're a good side, despite some pre-season predictions. They are a difficult team to play against. The other 2 maybe should have been doing more, especially against Gillingham. It was a very poor performance. But when you look at it as a whole, we've had a very balanced set of results, and that's more than a lot of people expected from us at this stage, because people expected us probably to be in the bottom 4. So overall, we're all very happy, but there's still room for improvement, and that might be greedy in a way to say that it'd be nice to do a little bit better in some games, and there are areas to improve, but there are, and we are a work in progress. There's some really good signs so far.
Definitely. As you said, you've kept most of the promotion-winning sides. Wes Houlihan is going to be a big talking point. The old Fawn in Town side, the man who made his name at Norfolk. I'm not going to say their name. Of course, Paul Digby, who had a brief spell at Town. You said he's your captain. And of course, Jack Lancaster, who joined you this summer, pretty much was part of the bomb squad and told he can lead the club. A player came through the youth ranks and made a name himself at Town. Let's talk about players to watch and possible Cambridge starting 11. The team that Alex is predicting will be below. But let's talk about Houlihan. Let's talk about Digby and any other players you want to mention. Take it away.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is do a full run through. Dimitar Mitov, a fantastic goalkeeper for this level. Really good shot stopper. His distribution's been a little bit shaky, but it's improved, especially since we had Mark Bunn come in as goalkeeper, former Aston Villa keeper. So he's our goalkeeper coach, who actually unfortunately left after our last game. So a bit of a change in the ranks there, but Mitov has come leaps and bounds since he first came into the squad a few years back. Back four will undoubtedly stay the same. Ardale at left back, Williams at right back, and the centre back pairing of Lloyd Jones and Conor Masterson. And this is, for me, one of our strongest points, because at least before the slight dip that we had in the last few games, our expected goals against was one of the best in the division. We were so solid at the back. I think the Bolton game in particular was the one that stood out, where we kept a clean sheet against the Bolton side that took about 75% possession. I think Mark Bonner after the game joked and said that at least we had more possession than Arsenal did when they lost at Man City earlier in the day. They both came through Liverpool's academy, so they know each other very well. Yeah, it's been a little bit shakier in recent weeks, but I would go as far as saying that on their day, they're one of the better partnerships, centre-back partnerships in this division. The midfield too is really difficult, and it also depends on what the formation's going to be. So I'm going to say it's a 4-2-3-1 with Paul Digby and Adam May in the pivot. Paul Digby is nailed on start for sure. So since Greg Taylor unfortunately suffered a season-ending injury against Plymouth, we lost our captain and our main centre-back, so someone had to pick up the role, and that was Paul Digby, who's done exceptionally well, a brilliant physical presence in midfield, which is exactly what we've needed. He's played with two midfielders there. He's played with one next to him or two next to him. Depends really what the formation is. I'm going to say it's going to be with Adam May, who's been in fantastic form, unbelievably good player, that's kind of come a bit from nowhere, to be honest, because I mean, at Portsmouth and even at Swindon, I think it was, the fans didn't really see that much in him, but he's come here, maybe didn't have the most incredible season last year, but in League One, he's stepped up to the plate big time. Fantastic player. I could see Liam O'Neill starting in that position, because obviously there's a lot of attacking threat from Ipswich, and we're going to need probably more defensive unit in that too, but it's hard to see how you drop Adam May on form. In the 10 and the attacking midfield role, it's got to be Wes Hoolahan. Ideally, he's played out wide for us a bit, but it's not really where we want him to be. He's better through the middle. He's 39 now. He doesn't really have the legs to be taking on fullbacks. But his presence through the middle, his creativity, is something that we've lacked in recent weeks when he's been injured. And now he's going to be a crucial player. Now he's back for us. The wingers, James Brophy on the left, and Shiloh Tracy on the right. James Brophy stepped up from League Two after a promising season at Orient. I think it's his first time in League One in about 7 years, but he's done very well. So that's been great to see. Shiloh Tracy was with us for the second half of the season in our promotion-winning campaign, was released by Spurs, and again has really stepped up to the level fantastically. He's been... Sometimes when games start to get away from us and we look a bit tired and we don't know where the creativity is coming through, he has so much energy down that right. He can take on his fullback. And he can also be a real threat in the penalty area, as we saw against Fleetwood. And of course, up front, it's going to be Jar inside 100%. So that's another nailed on position. He's got 5 and 10. He's not scored in his last 3, I don't think. So he'll be keen to get back into good form, but he's going to be our talisman. He's the main man going forward. Again, another physical presence in the penalty area, and that's really important for us in terms of the fact we had a long run. I think Ipswich were in a similar boat where we'd scored in every league game so far this season up until when we lost at Gillingham, and he was scoring all the time, and since then it's kind of dried up a bit. I know Ipswich have kept that record going of scoring in every league game so far this season, so that would be an interesting one. We're going to need to really be on it to get something from this one, especially with his kind of presence in the penalty box for sure.
That's some great insight there, my friend. No, about all the players. It's good to see. Let's talk about the game in itself. It's pretty much going to be a packed Abbey Stadium, a packed away end. The atmosphere is going to be fantastic. What do you reckon? And what can we expect from a Cambridge side? And what sort of game are Cambridge going to have to defend, or are they going to try to attack themselves? What do you reckon?
I think that we need to probably look at the recording from the Accrington game. To be honest, that seems to be the way to frustrate an Ipswich side, and it's a little bit strange looking at Ipswich in some ways that there's a lot of attacking threat there, and it all came in one game in that Doncaster game. But I know that in the loss at Accrington, I think Ipswich scored quite early on, and then I don't think there was a single shot they took after that point, which is really confusing to me from an outside perspective. I have no idea why that's happening. We have a terrible record of starting games. In some of the vast majority of our recent games, we've conceded, I think, maybe 4 times in the opening 10 minutes of games. So I can very easily see us going down quite early, but we are good at coming back. We're quite a gritty, determined side. We have a manager who knows how to motivate his players. Manager who is kind of, in a way, the brains of the operation as well, and that combines to make a really strong outfit. So, as I said earlier, Cambridge are a side where they will win the games you don't expect them to, and I think the vast majority of people will be tipping an Ipswich win here. And I think that's the kind of thing that motivates us, having a big crowd behind us, even with such an incredible away following as there's going to be on Saturday. This is the first time we've sold out the Abbey entirely since we played Manchester United in the FA Cup 7 years ago. So this is, I don't want to kind of play down Cambridge here, but this is our big day out. This is a big game for us. It is the biggest of the season, and it will be probably the highest attendance that we get. I don't think we'll have another sellout like this season. So it's a big match feel, and that's the kind of thing that Cambridge will thrive off, I think. And from there, it's kind of trying to plan out how Ipswich want to play this game, because I've kind of seen them in a light that's a possession-heavy side that has a lot of attacking strength, but doesn't quite know how to always use it. When they do, it works really well. They don't always know how to do that, and that kind of feels a bit similar to when we played Bolton earlier in the season. So I think that if we can play like that and play a bit like Accrington did, we can take our chances, and they will come. I think that there are some defensive frailties in that Ipswich side which have been exploited in recent weeks. If we can do that and we can keep our rigid defensive shape off the ball, which we've been really good at, especially with the 2 centre-backs, then we can get a result.
Now, it's your time to shine then. What's your prediction going into this game? And, we haven't played a competitive game since the 90s. Of course, we've had pre-season friendlies and all that sort of stuff. The Flynn Downs headbutt, red card and all
yes.
that. That's always a talking point. But what do you reckon?
I've kind of ended up with a very specific prediction for this. I think we'll go down 1-0 very early on. I can just see us leaving Macaulay Bonne unmarked in the box and going down easily. From there, I think it's a bit, I can see this going similar to the Fleetwood game where we come back, we take Ipswich by surprise, we get a goal before half time, can turn the pattern of play quite well and have phases where we dominate and we look really sharp going forward. But ultimately, I think that there is just a bit too much quality in this Ipswich side for us to walk away with a win. There are teams that have done it before, and I'm sure there will be teams that will do it again this season. But I think it is a tough ask for us to go up against such a strong side and do that. So I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw.
Ooh, 2-2 draw, Desmond, and that's happened a few times already this year. So it's definitely
Happened with us as
doable.
well. Yeah, that would be 3 in our last 4 or 5, I think, if that happens again. So I think that's a scoreline that we quite like. I can see that happening again.
Well, I don't think town fans will be pleased with a draw at Cambridge, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Alex, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
It's going to be a great time. I hope Ipswich fans enjoy the trip down, but not too much, let's put it that way. But it's going to be a really great occasion for both sets of fans. I'm really looking forward to it.
That's a great way to end it. Definitely. It's going to be an interesting day out, and we'll see what happens. And let us know in the comments down below your thoughts heading into this game, and we'll have to wait and see. See you all at the Abbey. Bye-bye for now.